Part 3. The breaking point, 1500 to 2000 words. The mirror trembled violently beneath Lena's hand, the surface rippling as though something was struggling to escape from within. She could feel the air around her shift, growing colder, denser. The shadow in the reflection twisted and writhed, its form no longer a still figure behind her but something more dynamic, an entity that sought release. It screeched, its voice a guttural rasp that echoed in the very bones of the house, as if the walls themselves were shuddering under the pressure of its cries. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. She could hear her breath, sharp and quick, but it sounded distant, muffled by the roar of the shadow's rage. She had done it. She had spoken the incantation. The mirror had reacted. But there was no way back now. The shadow lurched forward, its arms reaching out toward her reflection. The temperature in the hallway dropped, and Lena could see her own breath mist in the air. Her hand, still pressed against the glass, began to feel like ice. It was as if the mirror was sucking the warmth from her body, pulling her into its dark, frozen depths. Focus, Lena. You can do this. The words from Eliza's journal burned in her mind, fueling her resolve. To sever the bond, to break the curse, one must shatter the mirror, not with force, but with purpose. She had to focus. The incantation had been only the first step. Now she had to follow through, shatter the mirror, but not just physically. She needed to break its hold over her, over the house, over whatever dark force had been unleashed. The mirror seemed to grow larger, as if it was stretching to fill the entire hallway. The shadow's form was becoming more defined now, taking on the shape of a figure that almost looked human, but its face was all wrong. It was a twisted, grotesque mask, an amalgamation of darkness, with hollow eyes that seemed to glow faintly in the reflection. The mouth opened in a silent scream, a scream that was deafening in its intensity, yet Lena could hear nothing but the beating of her own heart. The air around her crackled, heavy with malevolent energy. The walls seemed to close in, and the temperature dropped even further. Lena had never felt so small, so insignificant. She felt as if she was standing at the edge of something vast and terrifying, something that would consume her if she allowed it. Focus. You're not alone. The thought came like a whisper, faint but undeniable. She was not alone. She never had been. The reflection in the mirror, this dark, monstrous thing, was not a separate entity. It was a part of her. It had always been a part of her, lurking in the background, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Lena had sensed it all along. The dark pull that had drawn her to the mirror, the strange connection she had felt every time she passed it. Now, she had to confront it, face it, and end it. The shadow wasn't just a figure of fear. It was a manifestation of everything she had been running from. The doubts, the regrets, the fears she had buried deep within her for years. All of it had fed the shadow. And now, it was time to let it go. Lena stepped forward, her feet moving with purpose, one step at a time. The mirror pulsed with energy, vibrating as if it were alive, but she did not stop. The shadow, sensing her resolve, reached out further, its hands long and gnarled, fingers like claws that scraped against the glass. She placed her other hand against the surface of the mirror, her palms flat against the cold, slick glass. The shadow twisted violently, its limbs stretching impossibly long as it tried to grab her. But Lena stood firm. She closed her eyes, focusing on the words from the journal, the final words that Eliza had written before she succumbed to the mirror's curse. To sever the bond, to break the curse, one must sever their ties to the past. Only then can the shadow be truly set free. Lena's heart skipped a beat as the meaning of those words hit her. The mirror wasn't just a portal. It wasn't just a doorway to another world. It was a reflection of her own past, of everything she had hidden from herself. The shadow was her own fear, her own darkness. I have to let go, she realized. I have to face the things I've been running from. She could feel the weight of the past pressing down on her chest, suffocating her. Every mistake, every regret, every moment she had tried to bury deep inside, she could feel it now, all of it, as if it were alive within her. The shadow was a manifestation of that weight, a collection of all the fear she had locked away. But she couldn't run anymore. She had to face it. Lena took a deep breath and spoke the words that Eliza had never written down, the words that had been hiding in the deepest part of her soul. I forgive you. I forgive myself. The mirror seemed to tremble violently, as if in response to her words. The shadow screamed, but this time, the sound wasn't one of rage. It was a cry of pain, as if the very essence of the creature was being torn apart. Lena's chest tightened, her breath coming in ragged gasps as the mirror began to shimmer. The shadow's form started to unravel, its dark limbs stretching and twisting, disintegrating into the reflection like smoke, slowly dissipating into nothingness. The air around her warmed, the cold that had gripped her retreating as the shadow faded away. And then, The silence. For a moment, Lena stood still, her hand still pressed against the mirror. The hallway around her seemed different, less oppressive, less heavy. The mirror was no longer a dark, threatening thing. It was simply glass now, reflecting her own tired but determined face. But the question still remained. Had she truly freed herself from the shadow, or had it merely retreated, waiting for another chance to return? Lena took a step back, her fingers lingering on the glass. For the first time in days, she felt like she could breathe again. The shadow was gone. The curse, or whatever it had been, was lifted. Or so she thought. She turned to leave the hallway, but as she did, her eyes caught a glimpse of her reflection once more. This time, there was no shadow behind her. No dark figure lurking in the corner of the glass. But there was something, a faint silhouette, barely visible, standing just beyond the mirror. And it wasn't her. Lena froze, her breath catching in her throat. The reflection wasn't over. The shadow wasn't gone. It had merely changed its form.